Mm. It's raining out, and I woke up at probably 5 o'clock this morning. I don't know what time it was. I made love with rain in the background. I love making love with rain in the background. It feels good. No matter what's going on, sensation-wise, making love with rain in the background is definitely just one of my little things. I love it. I love it. I love just the sound of the rain coming down and just feeling really, really good. Hey, morning, everybody. Morning, a couple people popping on. Hey, happy that you're catching me too. And this morning was, making love, but I say making love because it was about the emotion, about the connection, about just being together in that moment as we venture into a very busy Saturday. The hustle and bustle, and yet it seems that Mother Nature is like, just slow the fuck down. Just slow the fuck down. So funny thing, I'm going to hit a couple little facts, and then I'm actually going to talk about what I want to talk about, because I'm not talking about morning sex. But since I brought up morning sex randomly there, which I guess was my intimacy share of this moment for you guys, I was realizing, I was talking to a client last night at his appointment, and I told him, I was like, he brought up something that I had said in some conscious coffee, God knows from when, and I'm like, where did you get that from? And I'm like, how do you know that about me? And he's like, well, you said that on conscious coffee, blah, blah, blah back here. And I was like, oh, that's right. And I realized I had somebody else, another client of mine, ask me, we were out to drinks, and he asked me something about my 3 favorite dates. He's like, so when you were talking about your 3 favorite dates, blah, 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 and you're telling us guys how to, I was like, where did you get this from? Like, how do you know what my 3 favorite dates are of all time? I was like, number 1, I have more than 3 favorite dates. Number 2, where did you get this from? And I was just like, what the heck? He's like, well, I saw it on one of your videos. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out where he got it from. And then yesterday I was going through and I was getting some homework for another client, and I had to access one of my online programs, my Not Your Average Joe program. And in my Not Your Average Joe program, I teach men about dating a little bit and about courting and play and adventure and all this kind of stuff. And guess what is in Not Your Average Joe? I forgot that I had even created this video, but I created a video about my 3 favorite dates and went into great detail to help guys get a little bit more creative and give permission to have these 3 favorite dates. I was just like, I share all these intimacies all the time, and I don't even realize that I'm sharing them because I'm just like going with it. It's one of those things. I said the life of living, through live stream and just out there being raw and bare with your peeps, with your tribe. It's just an interesting thing because people learn about you and you haven't even told them, and then you have a conversation. And they know all this stuff and you don't know anything about them, but they know everything about you, and it's like, wow, how'd you do that? So, good morning, Craig. But I was, after making love today, I had this realization. It put me on a sexual mode. Go figure. And I was thinking about, I was like, okay, well, number 1, I do want to cover morning sex because a lot of men don't understand this, because guys have this awesome thing, and this is not the case, all right? So nothing is ever 100%, and I want to make that very, very clear. Nothing is ever 100%. So not every woman functions like this, but I can tell you that at least 8 out of 10. Okay, but some are just wired a little bit different. Hormones function a little bit differently. So to get off of this topic so I can move on to actually what I want to talk about, which is sex, but not sex in this category. Guys wake up and they're typically really turned on. They're typically horny, right? They have the tent going in the bed, or at least they want to have the tent going in the bed. Their mind is like, woo. And so 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, you can have a guy and he's able to get going relatively quickly if he's not already ready to go, right? And us women, it's this funny thing. Our hormones just do not drop down for us to actually be able to embody ourselves. It's like we are in sleep mode, And to get us out of sleep mode takes a little bit, and we have to actually have some chemical response happen in our body and be woken up in a slower fashion, much like women often operate. We're just a little bit slower to get there than guys. So guys can go boom boom, right? Morning sex is hot, it's intense for them, it can be very quick sometimes, like that. And as women, a lot of women, morning sex is kind of like we really don't feel anything. I'm telling people all the time, like, morning sex is kind of like, this is what it feels like. It's just like, I'm really not feeling a whole lot. I'm really like, but I also love morning sex. I love morning sex for connection. I love morning sex for, it's not a bad way to wake up, to have that connection, to have that, like some care being focused on, and just having that touch and that depth with your partner in that moment. So I'm not anti-morning sex by any means, but to make it very, very clear, women in general, I'm going to throw out the number. This is my number, not some scientifically proven number. That probably 8 out of 10 women probably feel about the same way, that morning sex is meh at best. It's just meh. It's for the connection. Don't expect her to have an orgasm in the morning, because it's just going to take a lot longer. Morning sex is typically definitely for the man in an orgasm fashion. And for the woman, it is more about connection and about intimacy and just leaning into that vulnerability, and can be a very pleasant first thing in the day and to wake up for the day. Now, on to next learning topic. That led me, my brain is like a great big pile of spaghetti, and one thing leads me to another, right? And that led me to the whole concept of one topic that I have heard so much on, probably just this Christmas week. The topic that I've heard so much on is comparison. Everybody comparing to something else. And it's just this like massive comparison game going on. And to the point that I was talking to somebody yesterday, I was actually talking to 3 people, I think, yesterday, that comparison came up in conversation. And it was this idea that, like, well, I was thinking about you and how you do this, and then I was looking at my wife and how she does this, and I was noticing this and I was noticing that, and it's compare. And I was talking to somebody else, and they were comparing monogamous relationships to polyamorous relationships, and they were throwing out crazy ass statistics to me. I'm like, whoa, like, statistics can definitely be altered according to the author, like that. So let's not get too caught up on statistics. They're not actually accurate in so many cases. In that case, I remember when I was a little girl, that they said that the rainforest was going to be gone in like 4 years at the rate that it was being, and now I'm conservation focused. I don't do a lot of extreme things. I try to pay attention to my footprint and everything. But that reality of, like, when I think back to all of those and the statistics that were going on, I'm like, well, then there should not be a damn tree on this planet at the pace that they had the statistics lined up when I was, 10 years old, and all of this stuff about the rainforest was going on. With that in mind, remember that statistics is like that on everything, okay? So I had one guy throwing out these astronomical, stupid, and they were really, really stupid statistics at me about open relationships versus monogamous relationships. And I'm kind of the mindset of, like, whatever floats your boat. There's dogs and cats in relating, and if you're a dog, you're a dog. If you're a cat, you're a cat. And probably shouldn't be mixing, but a lot of the times we're attracted to the opposite. And so we try to blend those things together in some fashion and come up with some cat-dog combination for relating, which, if anybody's ever seen that old cartoon, Cat Dog, we know how that works out. But when we get into comparison, the world of comparison and what it is actually about, here's the thing about it. I can tell you that if we are comparing, and if we are looking at this great of a depth at what others are doing, and being so conscientious and caught up in what their judgments are and how they're perceiving us and what is going on, then we are most certainly not living open. We are not living from our heart space. We are not living from our truth. We are not really fully stepping into our power. We are living for the purpose of others. When this comes into our sex, which happens to be where I was going with it, right? When this comes into our sex, I can tell you what, here's where sexuality is like an intricate, pivotal point in our life. And many years ago, I figured this out. I went years and years. I went out the sexual gates in a beautiful fashion. Then I spent a good probably 12, 15 years where I lived average and ordinary, blah, duty sex based, and just it was just bleh. And I shut everything down. And then I started to come out, and I had done all this work on all these other ways, and I was not seeing the results that I knew that I should be seeing because of all the fucking work that I was doing, right? I was like, I'm doing all of this. I've done the self-improvement. I know this. I know that. I'm doing all this stuff. And I watched my health deteriorate. I watched my emotional health deteriorate. I felt stressed, anxiety ridden. I was a lot heavier. I didn't have energy. I developed Crohn's. I did, all of this stuff. I was just depressed, a low-grade depression, and just rageful and not in control of that. It was just like, there was just like all of this swarming in me. And despite all of the stuff that I did from a spiritual aspect, if you go down the metaphysical, the spiritual aspect, I did Reiki, I did quantum touch, I did past life regression, I learned about dream interpretation, I studied my dreams, I did breath work, I did yoga, I did, I watched my nutrition, I became a nutritional coach, I got nutritionally certified and started working with people on their nutrition and on their well-being, because that's what I was needing to do. So I went and I did that. And I was really good at it. I understood it. It was a place that I could really let my logical mind go, and I really got into it. And I changed my diet, and I really focused in on the core elements of a healthy diet and what that meant, and how to heal through food, and how to heal through stress release techniques, and breathing and all this beautiful stuff. And you know what? I got myself about 80% to where I wanted to be. 80%. And now it's good, right? That's far better than what I had been in years past. And I was proud of myself, but it was not making the mark. It was still 20% away from my mark, because I'm kind of like a all or nothing type person. When I go in for the kill, you could say, and I'm going to take it all the way. And I wanted that 100% mark. I wanted to feel empowered. I wanted to know that I was actually thriving. I wanted to feel fulfilled, happy, joyous. I knew that I was going to have ups and downs, highs and lows, because, hey, I'm human, and that's what we do. But I wanted more happy than not. I wanted more fulfillment than emptiness. I wanted more connection than disconnection. I wanted more thriving than struggling. And I didn't have those things in place fully. I got tastes of them, and I got more tastes of them than what I had before, but I still was only getting samplings with that 80%. It wasn't a solid, consistent lifestyle that I was having, living, thriving, that I was having true enjoyment, that fuck yes life, as I call it today. And my tipping point was my sex. My tipping point was the thing that I kept closed down because I had a lot of shame around it. I had a lot of fear around it. I had all this stuff that I was looking out into the world, and I was comparing myself to others, and I was judging myself through others' eyes and perceptions, and fear of what are they going to think? How are they going to handle this? What's going to go on here? So I kept myself small in that aspect, and I disregarded my sexuality. I pushed it down because that was the safe place for it. But in that pushing down of my sex, I also pushed myself down. I also kept myself with a cap on myself where I couldn't really access the points of my being that I knew were possible. And then finally one day, I just woke up and I went, no, I'm done. And I leaned back into my tantric practices. And I went full force that direction, and I went into the healing game for myself, and I went into the healing game for my relationship at that time. And I learned, I really stepped more into like a Buddhist mindset of detachment. And I knew I needed to do that. I needed to detach from my fear, from the ego, from the desire to control somehow through fear-based actions to get what I thought I wanted. So I was manipulating the relationships in my life. I was manipulating my own well-being to the best of my abilities through fear-based actions. Okay? Take that one in for a second, because that's one of those like what? Right? Manipulating my relationships and my own well-being to a degree through fear-based actions. And I was doing that because I was looking out at the world and comparing. I was competing, I was comparing, I was critical mind about everything, and all of that kept me locked in this little box. Okay, it kept me locked in this little box. Now, when I broke the lid off of that box and realized that there was no box, now I feel like a Matrix comment right there, right? Like there is no spoon. But it's true. There is no spoon. There is no box. It's not what we perceive it to be. It is so much more. And it is how we allow ourselves to step in, to feel in, to think about it, to access that, which means take the lid off. Realize that there's no box. Lean in and your sex. I guarantee you that if you have your sex shut down, and if you can go, well, no, I don't have my sex shut down. I'm open. I'm understanding. I'm playful. I'm secure in my sex. I'm confident in my sex. I have no trauma in my past. I have this, I have that, like that. I'm mature in this. I'm emotionally, I'm not this, I'm not that. You can say that. But here's a key element that I want you to ask yourself, because this will tell you if you're really stepping in and owning your sexuality or not. Okay? Key element. And that is, if you are comparing, if you are judging, if you feel judged, if you feel like people are looking and questioning, if you feel like that there's a wall here, then I guarantee you that you have not leaned into your sexuality to the point that you really need to be, where you will birth yourself, where you will meet yourself, where you will really feel into your power. Now, this does not mean that you need to go and have sex with 1,000 people. It doesn't mean that you need to go and explore some, I don't care what some kink thing that you think. That's not what it is. Leaning into your sexuality is really releasing the shame to do the inner work that you need to learn to love the fuck out of yourself, to really love the fuck out of yourself, and to just let yourself be revealed. Like to stand in who you are in every area of your life, including your sexuality. You are a human being, and therefore you are a sexual creature. Okay, you're a sexual creature. Now, what your turn-on rate is, I mean, as far as like how much sex you want to have or not, or what kind and with who, and all that stuff, that's your personal business. But if you are having the sex that you're having because, with the people that you're having it with, or the person that you're having it with, and you're doing it exactly the same way, you're doing it all based because you feel like this is what is acceptable, and I can't actually go and do the things that kind of look interesting. Really, so that's shame. Now, there's shame around your sex. That's not leaning into your sex. Are you, like if you are having really quiet sex, if you are having the same exact sex every single time, if you're not even communicating with your partner or even thinking about certain things, like when you're self-pleasuring or when you are looking at different stuff, then that is just that's not leaning into your sex. You are in the privacy of your own bedroom or wherever you're having the sex at, the privacy of what's going on right between your own two legs, right? And in your heart and in your mind. Guess what? That is your private zone, right? So why are you experiencing from those places with the concern, the judgment, the comparison of any other person on this planet? It seems kind of silly that we do that because it's nobody's business but our own. But we do. And we don't communicate with the people that we're having sex with, right? We don't, we feel we feel like comparison from them. Well, maybe I just don't have enough to offer. Maybe I'm not playful enough. Maybe I'm not sexy enough. Maybe I don't have the best moves. Maybe I'm not making the right sounds. Maybe I'm not making the right looks. Maybe I'm not tight enough, loose enough, mechanical enough. I don't care what the heck the enough is. Or maybe I'm too much of this. Or maybe I'm too kinky. Or maybe I'm too crazy. Or maybe I'm too wild. Maybe I'm too adventurous. Maybe I'm too blah, 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 blah. These statements, the not enough, the too much, and I talked about it last night in a different degree, but here we are dealing with the core intricate piece, this pivotal atlas of our life, which is based on our sexuality, okay? It's based on our sex. And this piece right here, we shut it down when we are in the act with another or even with ourselves. We shut it down. And we do it. And if we get really, really real here, like seriously raw about it, we, even in this moment, act accordingly to what we perceive the world outside of us deems okay. And that's not being mature in our sex. That's not loving ourselves. That's not coming from a beautiful open space. That's not coming from a point of confidence and comfort and just strength in who we are. That is coming from a weak space of really still pointing outward and living from a victim mindset and believing that the outside world can impact us, or that we should listen to what others think of us, say of us, think that we should do, and all of that. And I can tell you what, any person that you look at out there in the world and you go, man, I want what she has, I want what he has, they've got it going on, they're so this, they're so that, they're so strong, they're so powerful, they're so real, they're so raw, they just don't give a shit. It's just amazing how they operate. They just are so radiant, they're so magnetic. I'm just attracted to that person. I guarantee you that those people that you feel that way about are at least working, because it is a daily practice, but they are at least working on leaning into their sexuality and getting very, very clear with themselves and not giving a flying fuck about what others think in this area, because they get that their sex is their lifeblood to everything else in their world. Okay, to everything else. Because the hang-ups that we have, the shame and the programs that we have, the dysfunctions in our sex, we also have these exact same things in our money, in our connection, in our ability to be present, in our ability to receive abundance, blessing in life. We get it in all these different areas. So if you can work on this one area, which is not a bad area to work on, it can be playful and fun and pretty damn freaking pleasurable too, right? It is a healing agent to the rest of your life. Okay? A healing agent. So I want you to really think about this. I want you to ask yourself today, really journal this, okay? Journal. Journal, do I live with the concern of others' perceptions, judgments, and ideas about my life in any subject area? How do I feel about my sexuality and my sexual desires and needs truly? Do I come from a place of my desire, or do I come from a place of fear base of others' judgments? How do I compare myself and my sex to the world outside of myself? I want you to really think about those. I want you to take the time to write those down and to think about that today. Don't let this weekend go out without really getting that out, because New Year's is right around the corner. And everybody's going to be making these New Year's resolutions like we do every year. I'm actually kind of anti-New Year's resolutions. I'm set some freaking goals. That's fine. Take 3 to 5 things and put that out there. But this resolution stuff, it's like you can resolve to do this, to do that. Why are you waiting for the first to do that? Do it now. Just whatever it is that you're feeling called to, do it right the fuck now. Don't wait for the first or the second to get started. When we wait, we're what? we're just procrastinating stuff. So I want you to realize that with that first of the year and New Year's resolutions and ideas, and everybody kind of gets this little spur of, oh, I want 2020, and now we got 2020, it's like 2020 vision. Everybody's talking about quantum. My sister-in-law, she had posted something about who's on board with making 2020 a quantum leap year, and I was like, yeah, let's make it a quantum leap year. But in my mind, I'm like, it's already a quantum leap year. I have so much stuff going. My January is packed, my February is packed, and my private clients have already booked up into March, and I've got workshops on the table up all the way to December already. I've paired with a bunch of people. I've got all these big time stuff that's going on. I've got trips planned for the year. To me, I'm like, whoa, my year is already, like, talk about that quantum speed. Yeah, I feel it. I feel like 2020 is not quite here, and I'm already sitting at next year's Christmas going, whoa, what happened? I told somebody yesterday, I said, I feel like I'm hanging on the back of a freight train, and I'm just holding on for dear life right now, and there's so much movement that it's just like pulling me back, and I'm just going, like, way back on this because it's so high speed, so intense. And I'm hearing that from a lot of people. There's a lot of desire for growth, for birth, for movement, and there's a lot of personalized focus. We went through these last 2 years where there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of upheaval, a lot of just change going on. And I think that people are finally going, okay, I'm now, the dust is settling a little bit, and that was a wild, crazy ride and very hard in a lot of ways. I feel like I got some whiplash from the last couple years, but man, I've seen some amazing things too. I've had some great things happen. I've had some really traumatic things happen. And now I'm done giving all of my attention to the outside world. I know that it's time for me. And I really think that 2020 the title for 2020 year is a year for me, a year of me. Ooh, that's a good one, right? A year of me. Hold on. Moments to write down for some marketing thing that is coming your way in the near future. See, that's how classes are birthed. Right there. I say something or somebody says something to me. I'm like, that's awesome. Okay, a year for me. It's going to be a program or a workshop or something. It's probably going to be a workshop. I'll do a workshop. Maybe I'll do an online workshop. Who knows? I might have it all figured out by the time I'm done talking. But anyways, so it is a year for me. I mean, I've seen so many people just say this over and over again. This is my year. I'm done giving to everybody else. It's not that I'm going to stop supporting the people that I love. It's not going to be that I'm turning my back on anything or abandoning, but it's time that I focus back in on me because I'm so drained. I'm so fatigued. I'm so empty. I feel so compressed in so many ways, and I just need to breathe. I need a moment. I need a moment. I have one client, she's taken off for the first 4 months. She's like, fuck it. She's a business owner, and she's like, you know what? My husband can take everything. I'm going someplace. I'm going to write my book. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take me time. I need me. I'm taking the first quarter of the year, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm like, here to you, because that is what the year is really dictating. But guess what? The me that we need to start with is the sexuality piece, because like I said, it is that atlas point where this is our pivotal moment, our pivotal space in our being. And if we want to rock in so many different areas of our life, and we want to have that fuck yes life, which is not just one area. Fuck yes life means fuck yes lifestyle, means, like beautiful creativity and abundance and flow and connection and love and joy and just yumminess, good, yummy juiciness to life in every subject. Well, if you want that, then your sex is the first space to go. And this is the most intricate piece. It is also the spot that the majority of people are going to go, I can't do that. Like, that's too scary. That's too scary. I can't do that. What's my neighbors going to think? What's my pastor going to think? What's my spouse going to think? What's my kids, my friend, my sister, my mom, my blah, 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 blah. And you're thinking about it all wrong, because it's an inside thing. Okay, it really is. It is an inside thing. So I want you to really look at the questions. They're in the comment section. I want you to take the time. Here's my journal homework for everybody. Every now and then, I give journal homework out. So look into the comment section, take those journal prompts, and I want you to really seriously take a moment, give yourself some time today or tomorrow. And like I said, don't let the weekend end without answering those questions, and really lean in and go, wow, where can I shift things big? Where can I own myself more? Because this is where my power is. This is where my creative juices are. This is where my turn on for life is. This is the access point to that fuck yes life. And I just know it. I know it. I think Addison posted something here. It took me stepping into sex to heal so much in my life. Your message is super on point today. Thank you, Addison. Yeah. I remember when I first met Addison, and here we go. Beep, beep, beep. I'm the best girl. No, I remember because, she has a therapy background, and she's incredibly smart, intelligent, like far smarter than what I am, in truth. Like, here's my kudos before I run you over. Like, really, seriously, like, she's one of the most fucking smart people that I've ever met. She's so damn intelligent and just beautiful spirited and beautiful big heart. And would give you everything, I cannot ask for a better bestie or partner in the midst of my coaching practice here, because she's got my back on so many different things. But I remember years ago when we first met that she came in, and I'm going to tell your desire story. So she came into the office, and I remember that she had this high shirt on, and I always talk about this shirt because she had this high shirt, and it had I think it had a bow or something right here, and like buttons or whatever. And it was just and then she was confident in one fashion, but in another fashion, she sat there with her shoulders a little bit hunched. And I remember just going, oh my God, I'm going to scare this chick to death. She's going to run out of here. She's going to freak the fuck out. She's going to run out the door. And I definitely am not getting a client today because she's too timid. Like, she's not ready for this. She's not ready. I mean, that's what her energy was saying to me I was like, I'm hungry, but I'm scared the fuck out of my mind right now. And please don't scare me too much. Right. So she's sitting there with this this tightness. And I was like, I just wanted to just take her shirt. And my first bit of homework to her was, I want you to go shopping, and I want you to do something that's, like a swoop neck. I was just bringing it down to what I have on right here. I was just like, let's not do this. Let's bring it down to here. And then I asked her the question I said, and we were talking, I said, tell me what you desire. And she looked at me with this, what the heck are you talking about? Desire. And she's like, define desire. And so I'm like, something that you want, something that you desire. What do you desire? And she's like, you mean in my sex? I'm like, no, in life. Desire in life. Yes, you can say something that you desire sexually, but what do you desire in your life? Because this is your creative juiciness. When we talk Kundalini energy in Tantra, we're talking about life force energy. Okay, Kundalini energy is life force energy. It is extremely. Hey, Florida's calling. It's all about really tapping in and owning your power, and it's this healing agent and everything. It's also that creative drive and passion and purpose and hunger for life, but at the same time, this whole I'm really good with where I'm at. I love my world, I love my life. But I'm so hungry. So I was asking her, what are you hungry for in life? And she was so bewildered. It was one of those. And I remember going, yep, and here I do. I'm losing a potential client because I pushed too far. I asked the tough question of what do you desire? She's out the door for sure now. And that might seem silly but I can tell you what, I ask this question a lot. You can talk to any of my clients and be like, yeah, she asks me this all the time. Because I'm consistently saying, what do you desire? What do you desire? What do you desire? What do you want? What do you need? What do you desire? Tell me, brag about yourself to me. Tell me something amazing about you. What'd you do since I saw you last that you just can't, that you're just like, wow, this is what I did, Kendal. And it's that constant challenge of loving self, of accepting needs, of accepting who you are, of really just leaning in and going, no, it's okay for me to desire. Now, she came out with a cup of coffee. I accepted that because that was something, right? At least we got a desire spoken. We communicated a desire. And that's another big piece for us, is to communicate our desires. Well, we don't communicate about this with anybody, including ourselves. Okay? We don't communicate with anybody on it, including ourselves. We even hide from ourselves because we don't ask ourselves the questions. And some of the questions are as simple as, what do I desire? What do I need? What do I want? What have I done in the last week that I'm just in awe over? You know? And the questions that are here for the journal prompts for you, which I really want you to lean into. So I could go on and on and on about this topic. Obviously, I definitely could, because it's a powerful topic. It is really the gateway topic when we talk about that fuck yes life, when we talk about power, when we talk about embodiment, when we talk about confidence, connection, intimacy, vulnerability, to surrender, to really, really go there. This is the gateway topic. I encourage you to do the work that I've just given, obviously. Re-listen to this Conscious Coffee. Hit the share button. Oh, and hit the share button again, and hit the share button again. Send this message out because it is a gateway topic and so powerful. I really ask you today, more than any other day up till now, to hit the share button on this one. And just put out there like, hey, just listen. Just listen and do the questions in there, okay? Because this is game-changing at such a deep level. And talk about making a big impact with your friends, with your family, with the world. Hit that share button, okay? The next thing outside of that, so you see, you do the work for yourself, you share the work with others. Now we touch a larger circle. You help me create that ripple effect. I give my gratitude, my love to you. Keep me going here. Give me motivation to just keep putting Conscious Coffee out there. Not that I'm ever going to stop, because I love my Conscious Coffees. But the next little bit then is, if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area or not, click on the link in the comment section for all the events that are coming up. There are some absolutely amazing, deep events coming up that can help support this movement for you. And, you know, there's so much going on in 2020. Like I said, I have stuff that I have to get on the calendar up to already December of next year. It's freaking crazy, but beautiful. And some powerful stuff. So I've got some online stuff coming out, because I know that I have a ton of followers. A lot of my tribe is you know, Florida based, and Oklahoma and Colorado and California and Seattle, and then a couple other countries out there, and then of course all my local Texas peeps. And Texas peeps, there's a massive amount of stuff coming out for you on my events page. So make sure that you click on that. And if you really want to deep dive into this, if you really want the opportunity to take 2020 by storm, definitely message me for details on my one-on-one coaching. I have a special that I am in the process of writing up over this weekend, and will be going out this next week for New Year's for my one-on-one coaching, focused in on just around a few topics. So this is going to be very focused coaching to really shift these pieces for you, so that you can really access and go deeper with your desires, with your needs, with calling in abundance, calling in the people that you want intimately, and just for, you know, your life purpose and everything, and really accessing your power. So message me for that. And yeah, I think I'm complete. I hope I'm complete right now. If I'm not, I'll catch you tomorrow, right? Okay, guys, I love you. I hope you have a beautiful Saturday, a beautiful weekend. I'm going to enjoy the rain and pack for Tahoe, because off to Tahoe tomorrow. So excited about that. Excited about hitting the snow and seeing family. I love you guys. I will catch you tomorrow before I head out on the road with another Conscious Coffee. As always, stop existing, start living, and really tap in to your sexuality, because that's where you're going to find your power. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.